This is a story called White Against Black. Black people matter too. Imran is a small Muslim boy living in an all-white neighbourhood with his family. However, it's the year 1982 and racism is rife. Imran is friends with a white boy called George, but his father doesn't approve of the friendship. He thinks that Imran should only be friends with Muslim kids. Of course, Imran doesn't take any notice, despite being just 10 years old. He becomes a massive fan of Wham and Paul Young, and he knows the lyrics of every one of their songs. He has posters of them hidden away in his bedroom. One day he's at school and a gang of white kids come over and one says, "What are you doing here, Paki boy? This school's for white kids only, not Pakistani kids." "I'm not a Pakistani boy. I'm no different to what you are. Look at him. He doesn't even know that his skin's darker than ours. I know my skin's darker than yours. I'm not stupid. Besides, just because my skin's darker than yours, it doesn't mean that I'm different to white people. Have you heard this boy? He thinks that he's the same as us, even though he's a Pakistani boy. Just who do you think you are? You shouldn't even be in this country. Why shouldn't I be in this country when I was born here?" The white boy and his friends laughed and then they grabbed Imran and beat him up. When he went home crying, he told his parents his dad said to him, "This is because you play with that white boy. I forbid you to play with him. From now on you play with Asian children only. Do you understand me, boy?" "Yes, Dad, I understand, but George is my best friend. He's never so horrible to me. He's just nice all the time. I don't care. I don't want you playing with him." "He's my best friend, Dad. I don't have any other friends as nice as George." "Well, then you'll have to play with your brothers and sisters because you're not playing with that boy." Later that day, despite what his dad said, Imran went out to play with George. When his dad saw him, he went crazy. "Imran, come here now." "Yes, Dad?" "I thought I told you earlier that you're never to play with that boy again." "He's my friend, Dad, and he hasn't done anything wrong. He's a white boy and that's why you can't play with him. White people are against us. That's why they beat you up, son." "Me getting beat up has nothing to do with George, Dad. He wasn't even there when it happened. He was at home having lunch with his family." "I don't care. I don't want you playing with him ever again." "He's my friend and I won't stop playing with him ever, Dad, because he hasn't done anything wrong." "Fine, Imran, but you just be careful. I don't want a repeat of today. Any trouble from the other white kids and you get away from them and come home straight away. Do you hear me, boy?" "Yes, Dad." Imran went back to play with George and his dad went home. However, when Imran went home, he saw some teenagers spray painting the wall of their house and they'd written, "Pakis, this is our country. Pakis, go home." He told his parents and his dad went out and chased them away, and then he called the police. When the police got there, they said there was nothing they could do, as no one knew who the teenagers were. As you can imagine, Imran's dad wasn't very happy and he said to the police, "Why won't you people do anything? Don't you know that black people matter too? We have as much right to be here in this country as white people do. If they came to our country, they'd be treated with the utmost respect and welcomed in with open arms. With all due respect, sir, there's nothing we can do. The police went away. Imran's dad went inside. A couple of weeks later, as Imran was leaving the house to go to school, he saw that someone had scrawled graffiti all over their front door and walls, and it said, "Packy's not welcome. Packy bastards, go home." He went inside and told his parents, and they scrubbed it off. They did call the police, but there was nothing they could do. By this time, Imran had been keeping a diary for a few weeks, but he didn't tell anyone about it. A few months after the graffiti incident, Imran was out playing with George when he invited him to his birthday party later that day. When he told his dad, he said he couldn't go because he didn't approve of the music they played, because it wasn't Asian music. Imran was really upset, but he took a card and a present over to George. When George asked him if he was coming to his party, he said no because he wasn't allowed. How come you can't come to my party, Imran?" "My dad won't let me because he doesn't approve of the music you play, and because it will be all white kids." "It won't be all white kids, Imran. My two friends, Isla and Millie, are coming and they're black." "Well, I can ask my dad again, but we usually go to the mosque on a Sunday." Imran went home and asked his dad if he could go to the party, but he said no, because they were going to the mosque. Imran told George he couldn't go and why. George was a bit upset, but he understood, and after his party, he took Imran some birthday cake and they played for a bit. A few days later, Imran was in the school playground playing with George during playtime when some kids came over, and one of them said to George, "What are you doing playing with that Packy boy, George?" "I don't see no Packy boy, James. I just see my best friend, Imran." "I see a Packy boy right there stood beside you. Why don't you come and play with the rest of us white kids and let Packy boy play with the Packies?" "Like I said, James, I can't see a Packy boy. All I see is my best friend Imran, and for the record, I wouldn't play with you or your friends if you were the only kids besides me left on earth." "Oh, is that right? Well, take this." At that moment, James punched George in the face and his friends joined in and they beat both boys up. Then, whilst they were on the floor crying, the other boys peed all over them. However, a teacher had been alerted as to what was going on, and he got some of the other teachers to help him to split the boys up. James and his friends were taken to see the headmaster, and they were all caned across their backsides and suspended from school. Imran and George's parents decided to get the police involved, but they got off with a warning. After that, James and his friend left George and Imran alone. However, a few months later, Imran's twin sisters were playing out with their friends on the local field when a group of white girls came over and one of them said, "Why are you lot playing with a couple of Packy girls?" "They're our friends, Marie. You're my sister, Leanne, and no sister of mine's going to play with a couple of Packy girls." "Wait until Mum and Dad finds out what you've been saying. I wouldn't like to be you when I tell them, Marie." "I wouldn't like to be you when they hear that you've been playing with a couple of Packy girls. They already know that I'm playing with Manpreet and Meena. They're not Packy girls. Their skin may be darker, but they're no different to you and me. Besides, black people matter too. They matter as much as white people do." "Who told you that, Leanne? It's a load of rubbish because they shouldn't even be in our country." If you must know, Marie, Mum, Dad, Grandma and Grandad told me. Well, they're wrong. Then Marie grabbed Leanne and dragged her home whilst constantly slapping her on the back of her head, making her cry. What are you playing at, Marie? Your sister's 3 years younger than you, so leave her alone. She was playing with those Packy twins instead of playing with her own kind. Are you talking about little Mina and Manpreet Allahan? Yes, they're Packies, so she should be playing with them. They're sweet, loving and lovely little girls. Why are you so racist, young lady? We haven't brought you up this way. They're Packies, Mum, and they shouldn't be in this country. This is our country, not theirs. It's their country too. You're grounded until I tell you otherwise. Now go to your room, please. Marie did as she was told, including apologising to the twins. However, once she was allowed out again, she wrote graffiti on the walls of the twins' house saying, "Packy bastards, get out." Unfortunately for her, Imran was recording the twins doing silly things, and he got Marie on video. He showed the footage to his dad, who then went to Marie's house and showed her parents the footage. The police were called and Marie was arrested and forced to wash off the graffiti. She wasn't sorry at all, as the next day she sprayed white spray paint all over the twins, and then she said to them, "Now you're white and now you can stay in this country." The twins ran inside crying and told their parents what had happened. Marie was arrested and sent to young offenders for 2 years. A few years later, when Imran was 16, he got into the college he wanted to go to. However, when he told his dad he was doing a writing course, he went crazy because he wanted him to study business and religion. "Why are you going against my wishes, boy? When you go to college in September, I want you to do business and religious studies, not writing." It's not what I want, Dad. I want to be a writer. It's my dream. It's all I've ever wanted to do. I insist that you change your chosen course to business and religious studies, son. No, I won't, Dad. I want to be a writer, and one day I will be, you'll see. Look, read this, Dad. No, I will not. You'll do what I tell you, boy. No, Dad, I won't. I'm going to be a writer whether you approve or not. That day, Imran's dad read his story about how black people matter, and he said to him, "I've read your story, son, and I thought it was fantastic. I'm sorry for the way I treated you. I think you're right that you do have a right to do whatever you want to do with your life. You have my full blessing to do the courses that you choose to do, and I'll back you 100%. Imran started college, and not long after he got a job working for the local newspaper. Every payday he'd go home and give his mum some of his wages towards the housekeeping. He sailed through college and he got top marks for every piece of work that he submitted. At the age of 18, he got into Leeds University, where he continued to study writing. However, one day he came out of the university during lunchtime, and a gang of racist thugs approached him, and one of them said to him, "What are you doing in our university, Packy boy? Why don't you go back to your own country and go to university there? This is my country. I was born and raised here. I have as much right to be here as you do. You may have been born and raised here, but this country belongs to us white folks. All you Packies and niggers need to leave. We may be a different religion to you, and our skin may be much darker than yours, but this country is our home too." Besides, black people matter as much as white people do. The boy backed off and apologised to him, saying, Imran, I'm so sorry. I was bang out of order. I've never been racist before, and I have to admit, it didn't feel good. It actually made me feel like shit. I dread to think how it made you feel. I really am sorry. Oh, by the way, you're right. Black people do matter as much as white people do. I hope we can put this behind us and become friends. I accept your apology and it's forgotten about. They became friends for good. By the time Imran was 19, he'd written and published his first book, which was titled White Against Black, Black People Matter Too. He went on to write and publish many more books. The end. Thanks for watching, guys. Oops. Oh. Thanks for watching, guys. Hope you like it. Love yous. Bye.